1,200 pound-feet of torque. Standard. Not an option, not an upcharge, not a trim-level flex reserved for guys with deep pockets. Standard. Read that again, because Ford just quietly rewrote the rulebook on what base model means for a heavy-duty diesel, and almost nobody's talking about it yet. If you tow, if you haul, if you've ever white-knuckled a steep grade with a loaded trailer breathing down your bumper, do not touch that scroll bar. Because what Ford just did to the 2027 6.7 Power Stroke is about to wreck the diesel game as we know it. So here's the deal. For the last few years, Ford has been giving Super Duty buyers a menu. You had the 6.8-liter gas V8, kind of the little brother to the big Godzilla. You had the standard 6.7 Power Stroke, putting down a respectable but not exactly earth-shattering 475 horsepower and 1,050 pound-feet. And then you had the beast, the high-output 6.7 Power Stroke, the one the real towing junkies actually wanted. Well, folks, Ford just torched that whole menu and rebuilt it from scratch, and honestly, it's the right move. Starting with the 2027 model year, Ford is flat-out killing two engines. The 6.8-liter gas V8 is gone, done, discontinued. And the standard output 6.7 Power Stroke, the budget diesel, is gone too. In its place, you're left with two choices, and only two. Option 1. The 7.3-liter Godzilla V8 becomes your new standard gas engine across the entire Super Duty lineup, cranking out 430 horsepower and 485 pound-feet. Option 2, and this is the one everybody's talking about, the high-output 6.7 Power Stroke is now the only diesel you can get. No more watered-down version, no more compromise. Every single diesel Super Duty rolling off the line in 2027 comes packing 500 horsepower and a jaw-dropping 1,200 pound-feet of torque straight from the factory. Let that sink in for a second. That's not an upgrade you have to pay extra for anymore. That used to be a $3,500 option to jump from the regular Power Stroke to the high-output version. Now Ford's saying, nah, everybody gets the good stuff. That's the base diesel. Think about that. The engine that used to be reserved for the guys hauling gooseneck trailers and fifth wheels across state lines is now just standard. That's a massive statement from Ford, and it tells you exactly where they think this market is headed. Now, why would Ford do this? Why simplify instead of adding more options like everybody expected? Ford's own communications team came out and said it straight up. They want the 7.3 as their most powerful and popular gas engine to be the standard across the board. And they want that high-output diesel to be the face of Super Duty's diesel lineup, no exceptions. Basically, Ford looked at their sales data and realized something simple. Nobody wanted the watered-down stuff. Buyers were skipping the base 6.8 gas engine and skipping the standard Power Stroke in favor of the bigger, badder options anyway. So why keep manufacturing engines nobody's buying? Ford streamlined it, and the result is every 2027 Super Duty diesel is walking around with numbers that used to require a hefty upcharge. And it's not just raw power either. Every single 2027 Super Duty, whether you go gas or diesel, is getting paired with Ford's heavy-duty 10-speed TorqShift automatic transmission. That's a big deal for towing, because that transmission is built to keep the engine humming in its sweet spot no matter what you're dragging behind you. Steep grades, heavy loads, mountain passes, doesn't matter. That 10-speed is designed to hunt for the right gear and keep your power delivery smooth instead of lurching around like some of the older setups used to. Now let's talk money, because you already know that's coming. Ford hasn't dropped official pricing yet, but let's keep it 100 with each other. When an engine that used to cost thousands extra suddenly becomes standard, that cost doesn't just vanish, it gets baked into the sticker. Expect a real bump on base Super Duty trims for 2027. Is that going to sting a little? Sure. But flip it around. You're not nickel and dimed for the engine you actually wanted anymore. You're getting the flagship diesel bundled in from jump. And for a lot of you who were going to spring for the high output anyway, that's basically Ford handing you a deal disguised as a price hike. But hold on, because I know some of you are already asking, what about the rumors? What about that monster 8-liter Power Stroke everybody's been whispering about online? Look, I'm not going to blow smoke and pretend that's confirmed, because it's not. At least, not yet. There's chatter in diesel forums and among industry insiders about Ford potentially developing a brand new 8-liter V8 Power Stroke, one that could theoretically push past 600 horsepower and north of 1,400 pound-feet of torque, with a totally new sequential turbo setup. That's the kind of number that makes Cummins and Duramax fans start sweating. But as of right now, that engine is not in the official 2027 order guide. What is confirmed, locked in, and rolling off the assembly line is this high-output 6.7. So don't get it twisted, the 8-liter is a someday maybe story. The 6.7 high output becoming standard, that's happening right now. This is exactly why it matters if you're shopping this segment right now. Competition in the heavy-duty truck world is downright brutal right now. Ram's got their Cummins loyalists who will ride or die for that inline six until the day they die. GM's got the Duramax faithful who swear by their setup no matter what. Ford needed to make a real statement, and making their best diesel the only diesel is exactly that kind of statement. It's Ford basically saying, we're done messing around with a good, better, best ladder. We're going straight to best and calling it standard, period. That's a genuine flex, and it's the kind of move that's going to force Ram and GM to answer back, and answer back fast. But numbers on a spec sheet only tell half the story. So let's bring this down to earth. Picture this. You're hooked up to a 30-foot camper, maybe a car hauler, maybe a skid steer on a gooseneck, and you're climbing a mountain pass in July with the AC blasting. That's exactly the scenario where torque wins over horsepower every single time. 1,200 pound-feet means that engine isn't straining to pull that load up the grade. It's basically shrugging it off. Older base model Power Stroke owners know the difference between adequate and effortless when you're loaded down. And Ford just made effortless the standard experience instead of the premium upsell. That's a huge win for contractors, for RV owners, for anybody who tows for a living instead of just towing on the weekends. One more thing before you go. Because Ford didn't stop at the engine bay, the refreshed Tremor Off-Road Package is getting expanded for 2027. Now available with a shorter bed option, and, get this, on the XL trim when you pair it with the STX Appearance Package. That means more configurations, more ways to build the off-road heavy-duty truck you actually want, instead of being locked into one specific trim just to get the good suspension and skid plates. Ford's clearly trying to widen the net here, pulling in buyers who want capability without necessarily wanting the top-of-the-line platinum sticker price. So what's the bottom line? If you've been holding off on a Super Duty purchase, waiting to see what Ford was cooking up for 2027, this is your answer. No more decision paralysis between 4 different powertrains. You get a genuinely potent gas option in the 7.3 Godzilla, or you get the diesel that used to be the expensive Flex, now sitting there as your only diesel choice, cranking 1,200 pound-feet from the factory. Simplified lineup, bigger numbers, and a transmission built to back it all up. Now I want to hear from you. Dead serious. Team gas with the Godzilla? Or are you all in on that high-output Power Stroke? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one, no cap. And let me know if you want the full deep dive the second Ford drops official 2027 pricing. Because trust me, that number is going to light the comment section on fire. If this video just saved you an hour of digging through forums and half-baked rumors, do me a solid and smash that like button. It genuinely moves the needle for this channel. Subscribe if you're new, because we're covering every single truck update the moment it drops. No fluff, no filler, just the stuff you actually need before you sign on that dotted line. Thanks for riding with me on this one, and I will see you in the next video.